Welcome. This is Barry Jones from Angelic Wisdom, and we're here for our monthly Ascension Angel Messages for January 2025. So, as we step into this new year of powerful possibilities and manifestations, the angels are asking you to release any and all judgment about the upcoming year and the changes of circumstance that has colored our natural lens of expectations. This is still yet another important year. And powerful year of manifestation. However, they write that this is contingent upon your perspective and perception of your reality versus truth. And they ask that you ground yourself confidently and most decisively in truth and release all else. This will present tests. And an onset of what I feel are unnecessary tests and challenges. However, they write consent. Nothing happens without your consent. So it is very important that you pay attention and be aware of what you wish to give your power to. And they wrote affinity. I don't know if they meant infinity. But there's a feeling of coming into the new year with a sense of finite ideas and expectations. And they remind you that every day and every moment of your life is filled with infinite possibilities. And they ask you to really be centered within the self. And they reminded me that 2025 is, in tarot numerology, is the Hermit, number 9. And what this means is that they really want us to self-reflect, to sort of take a step back and be more in observation, really observe your body and the responses and the sensations that sort of surface for you. and really trust this, your body's wisdom, as clear signs and signals. I don't know why they wrote the word nasty, but as I was talking about being aware of the energy, right? So there are sort of muddy and sort of impure or harmful energies that we can sense and that our bodies will pick up on and might be having reactions to things, letting you know what you're energetically digesting and how this is affecting your emotional, mental, and physical, and of course, your spiritual health. But they remind you that you have they write lessons and then they wrote intelligence, right? So when I felt like they wrote the word lessons, in some of these situations, there are lessons for you. And at the same time, they're not wanting you to disregard your spiritual intelligence to help you to choose what is not your lesson, to know the difference when something is a part of your lesson and when it is not. But it doesn't mean that you can't learn, even if you unfortunately get involved in things that really aren't your particular aren't, let's put it this way, it's not a part of your curriculum. You had a sense of like you've done that before. You learned that already, and it might be a situation where some things just are coming back up that you've already mastered, and maybe it's an opportunity for you to sort of like my Duolingo game, trying to learn Spanish, and it'll come back and offer you the opportunity to um, get that mistake that you made to make it right. And sometimes you bring back something just because to make sure you have that understanding. So it's like a review, but you don't have to go through the whole curriculum from beginning to end. Just review. If something brings up something for you, think of it as a review, a way to just recall the important lessons that came out of that for you. Um, when I think of grammar in this way, I'm thinking of, God, what did they used to call that in the 6 traits of writing? That particular, it starts with a C and I can't remember, but um, it has to do with basic structure, right? Sometimes we just need the basics, and that review might be um, coming up as a reminder of something new that's going to happen, and that it brings back those tools for you to remind you that you can apply these tools of learning to other lessons in your life. They're showing me sort of an old gate, like of a castle fortress that comes down, a metal one, but it's, like with bars and the spikes on the end. And but it's not all the way down, but it's coming down, and there's a feeling of, certain things can slip through underneath if, you know, you're someone's fast enough or clever enough. And I don't know if it's a feeling of wanting to escape something, and the gate is coming down, and the gate doesn't feel like it feels like it's could be about protection from outside things that you don't need to be engaged in, right? And then it just drawing me back to this whole hermit. And so there's something feels like a little off about trying to escape something. Like when you feel like you're trapped in something, you just want to get out. You've, I mean, the fortress could be, seen as just ego, right? And you just want to get out of this fortress, but you built this security around you. And maybe it feels like it's turning against you. But there's this sense of the way it felt is like there's something that you need. Sometimes you need to be aware that something that you're in is actually protecting you from something else. And it's about being in the midst of what we've done and what we've created, learning from it. And then when the gate, then you will be released because it's the right timing. And it's very hard. Like, I'm just thinking about, I've been sick for 4 months, and today I'm about to go get some medicine, prednisone, which I'm not happy about because it really upsets my stomach. And they've given me something to maybe help with that, but I hope it works this time. And, it occurred to me the other day that there's probably something that I need to be present with this, and I haven't had enough time, even though I've been off for a week now, and this is starting my second week when I'm recording this, my second week of vacation. And all I can think about is next Monday, the 6th, I have to be back at work, and I need to be healthy, and and I'm thinking about that when, quite frankly, right now, I really should have been in the bed. And so, what is it that, in sharing this with you, is it's just the understanding of what that looked like to me. And it occurred to me, a week ago, I need to be where I am. First, there's a reason why this long cycle has been with me since the second week of September. And there's some lesson, but maybe it's not the kind of lesson I'm thinking of. Maybe I've been focused on being sick when it might just really be about resting, right? Like time to heal. And it's not about what did I do to attract the sickness, right? But sometimes it's not the direct thing, it's the indirect thing. Or the thing is setting you up to be aware of the thing that you need to do in order to really move forward. So it's possible that look at what you feel like is holding you back, but don't focus on it looking at a direct connection or the obvious thing, right? That obvious thing might be too triggering and is throwing you off of the simplicity of what that situation's holding, sort of insulating you from. So maybe look at what it's insulating you from rather than what you did wrong. Because then when we really learn to accept that we're where we need to be, we're never making mistakes. We're never in the wrong place at the wrong time. Whatever impulse, whether it's ego or love that drove you to make certain decisions and put you in certain positions and placed you where you are in this moment, you wouldn't have gotten there without the permission of your higher self's consent. And there's that word again. And your higher self's consent takes all of this, at our level of experience and seeing things as right or wrong or fortunate or unfortunate. It takes all of that into its deliberation and creates the right curriculum for the right moment in time for you. And so here's where you are. And it's not about, and I think I'm going to forget what I just said to you before about the fortress idea in terms of, don't think about what you've done wrong or how this relates to something you did wrong, but what is this protecting you from? Okay. So let's take a look at the archangel that we're working with in this month. And it's Archangel Raziel. And this really just sort of indicates to me, Archangel Raziel for me is this archangel of incredible wisdom. And, that understanding that is often lacking in our circumstances because we're too close to it. And then it just gives you that sense of that hermit energy again, where you really need to sort of step back and survey from a very broader perspective and not jumping on things, not seeing things as an attack, but seeing your higher self's wisdom, seeing it from your higher self's consent, or its wisdom of consent, if that makes any sense. And it says, seeking you will find, be a wise one. So he's got his book open, his book of mysteries and deep, profound wisdom. What is in this situation? We need to look deeper than the surface. So again, it's not about those immediate connections that your mind sees, but from a oneness perspective. And right now, I just saw the word segregation. It's like at the level that they're talking about, that surface level where it's all about division. It's what separates us rather than what unifies us. And this can be the same for you in your own relationship with yourself, where you're focused on separation and division. Your way of looking at things and analyzing things is counterproductive. So don't be drawn into the system, right? Don't be drawn into what's been played on you, if that makes any sense. Even if it seems personal to you, it's not personal to your higher self. None of what's going on in our world is personal to the higher self. It's a series of events that are being guided towards unity, but they're set up as lessons because of free will. And people really don't understand that the intervention cannot happen unless it's going to disrupt your ability. First of all, if it usurps your higher self's consent, free will, and if it would prevent you from fulfilling that divine plan and purpose, that's when an intervention will come without permission, it would seem. But to expect the universe to do this randomly, without deliberation, for something that is not holding you responsible for in the sense of judging you, but it is allowing you and I to work through whatever we've done individually or collectively. And so this is the kind of introspection and understanding and compassion that we need to begin to initiate in 2025 in order for particular outcomes to unfold or be given permission for intervention. All right, so let's take a look at the card from our, well, this is a card from the Major Arcana. And this card is going to represent that the lesson, the big theme, the overall theme or influence of energy. And so what we're really having to do here is, it says compassion there. And what it's really about, this card for me, is embracing and working together with these dueling components of ourselves. They how we are dealing with it, they write in the word expression, it reveals how you are expressing yourself or how your life seems to be expressing itself around you, if that makes any sense. And so the more that we find compassion for the dueling parts that we seem to be in an relentless battle with. And they just wrote the word strategic as if this is the greatest strategy for each and every one of us to heal our world, to bring peace to our lives. Because the battle you see outside of you, the good versus evil sort of battle, as some people call spiritual warfare, is only about the one that goes on within yourself. The inability to not judge, but instead be compassionate. And that's a big thing, because in our judgment, we just can't see or hear another's voice or their opinions or beliefs. We don't understand it, and we don't want to accept it, and we don't want to hear it, we don't want to tolerate it. And that contention is what we're all doing with inside of ourselves. We abhor the part of ourselves that we cannot understand, that we do not like because we don't have enough compassion for it. And so this intolerance keeps playing out in the world around us. And there are those that deeply trigger us. And right now in the world, what we see is how profoundly triggered we all are by one another, but when it's really about ourselves. And so without this kind of looking within, being the observer, really, and the only way you can be the observer is to try to see and tap into your higher self's perspective. Accessing or asking for the consent of your higher self's wisdom to be your eyes and your ears and guide. And this is probably hard from just hearing what I'm saying to really grasp how you can do this in your day-to-day awareness. Hopefully this card from the Minor Arcana will give us a little bit of insight about how we can do that, or how we can look for it, the opportunities when they come. And it's interesting to get the Two of Earth, or Two of Pentacles, Two of Coins, and right away we see this little girl with butterflies all around her, and she's trying to balance herself on this fence. So one, we're all on the fence right now. And it's like we feel like we're trying to juggle a lot. So first of all, we got to focus on what gives us joy. Got to focus on what brings what we're passionate about, and focus on the changes that we really want to see. But that only can happen when you also focus on the changes within yourself that you want to see, that you want to focus on. By focusing, you start to create a balance. You start to attract the activities and the attention, your attention and focus in a way that is more in balance with who you truly are. Once you become more in balance or in alignment with who you truly are, those things going on around you, or those things that bother you within yourself, the parts of yourself you don't understand, will start to make more sense, in the sense that you'll have a peace that surpasses all understanding. You don't need to fight or pick at or crucify or shame or guilt those parts of yourself. And then you'll see that you don't need to do it with the situations and the people around you that you don't agree with. You'll come to understand that there is a bit of surrender. Once you surrender something, you are allowing it to heal. And that means that you're allowing the course of events to unfold that will lead to the healing, because you are now trusting that the collective I am presence of every man and woman and child is seeking joy ultimately through their struggles. But as we fight with one another, we prevent ourselves from having that joy, because you create anger and frustration within yourself and within relationships that are contentious for you. When you surrender, you allow them and yourself to be on the journey that allows you to come into a place of healing and peace. And when this finally happens, your body will reflect it, as I just wrote, the health and the healing. And then you can start to truly forgive. And the forgiveness starts with yourself. Forgive yourself for all the times that you misjudged yourself, especially on what you consider are failures and disappointments. And forgiveness and surrender really means I accept everything in my life that has ever happened, whether I chose it or I feel that it just happened to me. But I accept it anyway, because I understand and I'm grateful for the fact that all of it has made me who I am today. And it's only when I can begin to forgive and accept this that I can truly understand who I truly am, and therefore be receptive to my purpose in this, through these tests and lessons and just ordinary experiences, just generic ordinary experiences of life. It's all just been a beautiful unfolding, and it was never meant for any of us to hang on to a moment and let it fester within us. Peace on earth begins with each and every one of us, one person at a time, who has surrendered and allowed their own healing through clarity, compassion, and understanding. And so I send you lots of love and angel blessings in this first month of 2025. Keep your eyes on your prize, and that is how you feel and how you love yourself. And let everything else surrender unto its own journey, and it will eventually find peace and healing. Everything will come into balance. And maybe in 2025, that will happen in ways that are not always pretty, but it will happen as it needs to be. God bless you.